Hi, everyone. Super excited to talk with you guys today. Appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedules with school starting up. But as I mentioned, today we'll be talking about social media strategy and how you guys can maximize opportunities in this new NIL era we're in. But to kick things off, as I said, my name is Becca Greenwell. In my role, I work on the sports partnerships team at Facebook Inc. So specifically, I manage partnerships with pro teams and college teams, help them be successful on Facebook and Instagram. But as you can tell from this picture, I'm also a former college athlete. Was not a Big East player, but I did play in the ACC, women's basketball player at Duke. And because of this, I'm very passionate about this topic. I tell all the athletes I talk to that I'm jealous of you guys. I just graduated in 2018, so I'm not too far removed, but there's so many things I would have done if I were an athlete in this new era. But instead, I'm excited to help educate you guys on ways that you can take advantage of this moment. But first things first, I'm sure you guys have heard a lot about NIL lately, but the bottom line is that, it's a huge opportunity. It's essentially the wild, wild west. There's new news, new deals happening on a daily basis, but it's really an exciting time to be a college athlete because it levels the playing field. No matter if you're an All-American athlete or not, now you have equal opportunity to go out there and take advantage of this moment. And it's really going to be the athletes that are intentional and strategic about it that can succeed and thrive in this era we're in. And it's important to realize that starts now. The moment that you commit to your sport, you have a built-in audience and a massive brand attached to you. Just by being a Big East, Division I athlete, that sets you apart from the majority of people out there. So it's important to take advantage of this time window because more than likely these 4 to 5 years are going to be the most marketable years of your life. Never again are you going to have a whole university behind you, a support staff, content at your disposal. You have all the tools really in place right now to take advantage of this moment. And if you do, that's going to allow you to, build your brand, grow your fans, develop an audience, and ultimately turn that into revenue, business opportunities, and hopefully build a legacy that lasts long beyond, your 4 to 5 years as a college athlete. A couple other reasons this is very important is because of these two stats. So first, not to be a Debbie Downer, but less than 2% of college athletes go pro, and only 1 out of 4 former student athletes have an easy transitioning to life after sport. And I'll be the first one to tell you, I've personally been through this. I was fortunate enough to be drafted in the WNBA. And I thought I had it all figured out. I was going to play until I was 40, get brand deals, grow my audience. I had everything mapped out, but unfortunately it didn't go that way. I've had 6 knee surgeries, 1 back surgery, all, before the time I even graduated college. So my pro career ended before it really got started. So that was a tough transition to figure out, what am I going to do now? Basketball is all I had known to this point. But meanwhile, I had just by being a student athlete, I had all the intrinsic qualities to be successful at the next level. It took some time to transition from point A to point B. But the good news for you guys is with NIL, now you can start preparing now. No matter if you make $100 or $100,000, from NIL opportunities, just by, going out there and experimenting and being entrepreneurial and, building your brand. All of these things are business skills and life skills that you're earning that are going to be transferable to life after sports. So just want to set the stage by, realizing that it's more than just the money. And specifically on Facebook and Instagram, we're building the tools and we have the tools to help you build a legacy that lasts not only 4 years, but hopefully 40 years, long after your playing days are over. And here's just a quick snapshot breakdown of how the NIL deals have unfolded so far. I know we're only 3 months in, but so far it's expected to be a $1 billion market. And if you can see from these bullet points on the left, 85.8% of these deals are happening on social media. Obviously appearances, autographs, selling products, those are hopefully going to increase, but right now it's clear to say that it's starting on social media. So it's important to be educated and be strategic about how you can get a piece of this pie. These two stats kind of speak to how this creator economy, as we show it, is really exploding right now. So from 2019 to 2020, creators, which you guys fall into that category as athlete creators, earning $10,000 per month grew 88%, and creators earning $1,000 per month grew 94%. So this economy is here to stay, and this is something that is so relevant, more relevant than ever to you guys. But just think about, what that money could do for you. $1,000 a month, $10,000 a month. That can really have, a meaningful impact on your life. And there's no reason you guys can strive to achieve numbers like this on social media. And specifically, on Facebook and Instagram, you can essentially broadcast your skills, your talents, your personalities to the world's largest stadium of fans. You may not realize, but there's 570 million people who follow an athlete on Facebook, 490 million people who follow an athlete on Instagram. And we know, it's no surprise that Instagram is the home for college athletes. We absolutely realize that, and most of this presentation will cover Instagram. But it's also important to realize that Facebook is the biggest social media platform in the world. And it's also important to have a presence there because that's where you're going to be able to reach, a massive audience as well. So how do you get there? There's not a one-track route. There's a lot of different ways you can be successful, and we'll cover that today. But the simple formula we like to teach is first, get set up, make sure you're taking the tactical steps to get your Facebook and Instagram in a good place. Second, grow your audience. And there's a number of ways you can do that with different products and content formats, which we'll dive into. And then last, grow your revenue. Most college athletes don't realize all the different ways you can make money on Facebook and Instagram, branded content being the most popular, but there's also things like Instagram shopping, Instagram IGTV ads, ad breaks. There's also user pay options, and also last but not least, off-platform opportunities. Something like promoting a camp or a clinic across Facebook and Instagram is another great way to earn revenue on our platforms. So throughout this presentation, we'll break it up into three categories. First, we'll talk about how you can start building your personal brand. Second, we'll dive into monetization opportunities. And then last, we'll end this presentation with a 2-minute drill, some tactical steps that you guys can do, right now if you have your phones out. But first, building blocks for a personal brand. So it's important to first and foremost optimize your content strategy. So across Facebook and Instagram, there's a number of different content formats. They each have a purpose. There's pros and cons to all of them, but we'll take a dive at each one. So I'm sure you guys are familiar with this, but first, your feed. So on both your Instagram and your Facebook feed, this is a place for traditional photos, videos, moments that last. So think about posting high quality photos of you in your uniform, game day photos, media day photos. Those are the type of content that performs best on your feed. Second, your stories. This is a place for casual, everyday updates. Stories are my personal favorite. They're prime real estate because stories live at the top of your feed. When you open your Instagram app, that's the first thing you see. So it's really a low lift, high reward opportunity to experiment with. Third, Reels. This is our newest content format, a place for short form, entertaining content. This example is from a Kentucky football player just doing a fun little, throwing challenge. But that's a great way to build engagement. Do a challenge, encourage your followers to follow suit, tag you. It's a great way to get people involved. Last thing I'll say about Reels. Reels are awesome because they allow you to reach unconnected audiences. So for example, when you post a reel, you can post it to your feed, but also post it to the Reels Explore page allows you to reach those people who normally wouldn't follow you. So if you're looking to grow your audience, tap into Reels. That's the best place to do it right now. And then the last two, IGTV. This is a place for long form content. This example here is actually a live. Aaliyah Hutchins, she does it's Instagram live where she interviews other athletes. She saves that video, uploads it as an IGTV, and now she creates an episodic series that her followers can look forward to. And then lastly, going live, a great way to be direct, be raw, showcase your personality. When going live, you can go live by yourself, answer fan questions, talk to fans, or you could go live with a teammate. So there's a lot of different formats to experiment with, but the most successful athletes and creators are the ones that experiment with all of them and have a holistic content strategy. So second, you want to maximize shareability. So think about how you currently use Facebook and Instagram. You're liking, you're commenting, you're sharing other people's content. So when creating content, the same rules apply. Try to create content that your fans and your followers want to see. So we actually did a trend analysis on some different content buckets that were most successful among pro athletes. And this is what we found. Most successful was family content, followed by moments with teammates, workouts, and then no surprise, sponsored content is least popular. But that being said, absolutely do sponsored content if you can, but it's important to be authentic when doing sponsored content. Make sure every post you do isn't a branded content post, and try to weave it in organically with other content you're posting. Next, another great way to increase your discoverability and grow your audience is showcasing interests and passions outside of your sport. So think about what your core values are, what are your interests, what are your passions that you want to showcase when people go to your Instagram page. You'll realize when you start to do that you have different buckets of fans that follow you for certain reasons. So for example, you have people who follow you just for your sport that are hardcore sports fans, but you might have people that follow you because they like seeing, your travel stories, or, your foodie posts or moments with your family, or, maybe, you post pictures of your pets and your dogs and they like seeing that content. So, take some time and think about, what you want your personal brand to be, and start, creating different types of content, because that's what's going to allow you to reach new audiences. So this example here, Tom Brady, everyone knows Tom. He's known for football, but he's one of the best athletes on social media because he doesn't only post football posts. He also posts moments with his family. He also does post-game recaps, and he also does fun videos. I personally follow Tom. No offense to football players on here, I'm not a huge football fan, but I like following Tom Brady because I love seeing his fun trick shot videos. So just something to think about. Another way to build your audience is to make sure you're engaging. So across our platforms, there's a number of different ways you can do this. First, on your feed, this is probably the easiest, but something as simple as responding to comments. Something as simple as saying thank you to a fan who tells you a good game could potentially earn you a lifelong fan. Second, stories again. This is an example from a Tennessee football player. He did an Instagram story takeover and took fans throughout his day, allowed fans to ask him questions. And just by doing that one day, I think he gained over 20,000 followers. So, ask your coaches if an Instagram takeover is an option. Definitely, sign up for that opportunity. Third, again, with stories, there's a number of creative tools you can use. So you can use the question sticker. You can also use polls. You can use a countdown sticker. One way to think about your content strategy is something like this example from Sloane Stevens. She posted a question, ideas for my reels. That's a easy way to make sure you're tailoring content to what your fans want to see. And then lastly, live again. Great way for engagement because you can respond in real time to fans' questions and comments. So another way to increase engagement is with a content franchise. So I mentioned this example, Leah Hutchins, Wake Forest track athlete, but she's a great example of having a content franchise. She interviews other athletes. She saves them as an IGTV, and now she has this series. I think she posts, once a week or once every other week. And fans, by creating an episodic series, fans can look forward and tune in to her next one that's coming. Another example of a content franchise is Tom Brady. Like I mentioned, every game he'll do, a post-game recap. So think about, what could your content franchise be? It doesn't have to be, super high lift like this. It could be something as simple as, every Friday, you're posting, your favorite song, or, you're posting about your favorite food. Think about, creating an episodic series that fans can look forward to, tuning into every week. So I know we're covering a lot, but I want to take a step back and, talk about, who's going to be a winner in this new era. Not everyone is going to be, a winner. There's going to be 2-star athletes, 3-star, 4-star, 5-star, etc. But it's going to be the athletes that are intentional, that are creative and entrepreneurial, that are going to be successful in this era. So, take a moment and think about, if a brand were to look at you, right now, what would your assessment look like? So for example, I did a quick assessment on myself. I don't mind roasting myself, but if I were to, grade myself right now on a 5-star scale, I would give myself 2 stars. I'm 3 years removed from college basketball, so I'm not being super intentional about this anymore. But if I were to rate myself, I would say my strengths are, I keep my account safe. I make sure I'm using safety tools on Facebook and Instagram. I cross post to Facebook and Instagram to reach, a wider audience that way. I do kind of have a content franchise. I post a lot of dog pictures. I would say, that's my content franchise. I'm very consistent with my stories. I could be better with my feed. And one other thing is I host a basketball camp every summer back in Kentucky, where I'm from, and I will make sure I market that to my audience on Facebook and Instagram. And it's a great way to, give back to my community and also earn revenue at the same way. As far as my following goes, not much to share, not very impressive. But this is just an example for something you guys to think about. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What could you do better? Because these are the type of things brands are thinking about when they're considering you for potential opportunities. So on the flip side, here are some examples of athletes who are doing a great job on social media and have extended their brand, long beyond their playing careers. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Professor, but the Professor, he was not an All-American college athlete. He actually played at a small community college in Oregon, but he made a name for himself being on the And One mixtape tour, made a name for himself being a street baller. And with the rise of social media, started creating content around it, showcasing his skills, his talents. And, over the past 20 years has now built up a very impressive following on Facebook and Instagram, over 3 million followers on both. And now, because of that, Facebook and Instagram is his main source of income. He makes money off of branded partnerships, off of in-stream ads, which we'll cover in a bit, and also through selling merchandise. So this is just an example of, just because you're only an athlete for 4 years, it doesn't mean it ends after that. You can build out your brand like the Professor and hopefully make it last a lifetime. Another example, Shawn Johnson. She is a former Olympic gymnast. She has not been a gymnast in over 20 years, but now she has over 3 million followers on Instagram, 1 million on Facebook. But she used her moment at the Olympics when she won gold and leveraged that, leveraged the audience she built in that one moment and is now this massive following. So, now she's not posting content like this anymore. She's now a mom, a wife. She has a few kids. She posts, fun content like this, and people follow her for that reason. They like seeing her lifestyle posts. And similar to the professor has now, stretched her brand to last a lifetime. But these are just a couple examples, something to strive towards, because if you are intentional, there's no reason you guys can't do this as well. So lastly, it's not easy to build up a massive following like Shawn Johnson, the professor, but just like in sports, it's important to make a game plan. There's not, a one-track route to do it. There's a lot of different ways you can be successful. But, take some time to think about it and map it out. How can I build my brand, grow my fans, be engaging, promote a charity? There's a lot of different ways you can do it. But just realize that, you're going to get out of it what you put into it. So second, want to switch gears, talk about how to make money on Facebook and Instagram, which I'm sure you guys are interested in. So the great thing about our monetization products is you can really choose your own path. There's a lot of different opportunities, and it's really just about finding which one works best for you. So first, branded content. At the beginning of the presentation, we showed that pie chart, and probably all of those have fallen into this bucket of branded content. But branded content is a great way to work with the brands you like, but also make money at the same time. But to be most successful and to unlock branded content partnerships, here's a few tips. First, be authentic. People and brands can sense out when a post is inauthentic. Make sure it aligns with your image, your interests, and your personal brand. For example, if you never wear makeup, don't do a partnership with a makeup company, because your followers and people who know you are gonna, know that's not, the real you. Second, be creative. So this is a great example from a basketball player doing a branded content post through a reel with Dick's Sporting Goods. Utilizing different formats is going to be attractive to a brand. Something more than just a static image or posting a flyer, something like that. Like, that's not going to be attractive to anyone who sees it. So when doing branded content posts, make sure it's creative, make sure you're showing personality, because brands would want to work with you in the future if so. And then lastly, like I said, utilize different surfaces. You can do branded content posts through static graphics, through feed posts, through reels, and also through IGTV as well. Okay, second, video monetization. So like the professor, you can add ad breaks throughout your videos and IGTV ads. Important to note, you have to reach a certain criteria to do so, as far as your number of video viewers and followers, but something to strive towards, because it's nice to have a steady stream of income by just using something as simple as an ad break. Next, shopping. So Instagram and Facebook shopping has really exploded lately. I'm sure many of you follow teams and athletes, brands who are posting their content or tagging their products. But so far we've seen quite a few college athletes start to adopt IG shopping. This first example, the Cavender twins, two basketball players from Fresno State, came out with their own merch. Now they're tagging their products in their feed posts, earning revenue that way, also, getting their brand out to the masses. With IG shopping, you can build your own shop, and just a great way to, earn meaningful revenue. And like I said, getting your brand out there, and bringing fandom into the homes of your fans. One exciting product that is coming soon is called Affiliate. So with Affiliate, you'll be able to work with brands, tag their products, and any sales you make from that post, you'll get a percentage of that revenue. So essentially it is taking away the need for promo codes. So something to look forward to in the coming months. Will definitely be a valuable tool for athletes. Next, user pay. So there's a number of different user pay options where fans can, pay you for content. So this first one on Instagram, badges and live, this essentially allows fans to tip you for content. So for example, if you wanted to, go live and host a, training session, someone could tip you $2, $5 through the badges. Second, stars for live, similar, but on Facebook. There's also fan subscriptions where, fans can pay a monthly fee and subscribe to your content. So, for example, you can post exclusive content, you could, host events, and basically it's just like a, special access opportunity for fans. And then lastly, paid online events. This essentially puts a paid wall behind a virtual events. So it could be something like this Zoom we're doing where in order to get access, people have to pay, $2, $3, $5 to get access to. So, something to experiment with for sure. And then lastly, promotions. There's a number of different on-platform opportunities to make money, but, same thing applies for off-platform. I personally think camps, clinics, and training sessions are a huge opportunity. That's something I would be doing today if I were still a college athlete. In fact, right after I graduated from Duke, I started running my own camps and clinics back home in Kentucky every summer. So these are examples from my own personal camp I do. As you can see, I use Instagram and Facebook to promote it. So I usually do every summer, I'll do, a flyer on my feed post. I'll do a swipe up to my story. Now that feature has changed. Now it's the link sticker. And I'll also cross post the camp information to my audience on Facebook to reach, wider distribution that way. So, whether it's a camp, whether it's a podcast, appearance you're doing, an NFT you're selling, think about how you can market it and promote it across Facebook and Instagram. All right, now the fun part, we're going to do a 2-minute drill. So if you have your phones, make sure you get them out, and we'll go through some tactical steps that you guys can do right now. So first, the first bucket I want to cover is account safety and security. So first and foremost, it's important to be aware of all the safety tools on Instagram and Facebook. We know that bullying and online harassment has, been a big issue lately. So we want to educate you on all the different tools and policies we have in place to help prevent this. So if you go to your settings on your phone in your Instagram app, and then you go to privacy, you'll be able to see all of these different options and you can get, set up with the ones you like. But just a brief overview, the first one, hidden words. This tool allows you to hide comments. You can also choose to hide specific words in your comments. If there's, an offensive word that you don't want to see show up, you can make sure you block that word with this tool. Second, there's comment controls, where you can manage who or who cannot comment on your post. There's also message controls, same thing. You can control who can message you, who you get message requests from. And then lastly, there's tag controls, so you can approve who can tag you in posts. So take some time, either now or after this to just take a look at some of these different safety tools we have in place. Second, this one is probably most important. Two-factor authentication. So in order to prevent being hacked, this is the best way to do so. We get so many inbound emails from athletes, from schools about players that have been hacked. And it's very, very easy to prevent with two-factor authentication. This essentially, adds an extra layer of security to your account. You'll get a notification if, someone's trying to log into your account from a different device. But to get this set up, very simple. You just go again to your settings, you tap security, and then you select two-factor authentication. And that is it. Very easy, worth doing. I've been hacked before. I was hacked in college. I did not have two-factor authentication on, so highly recommend turning this on to keep your account safe. So why do people get their accounts hacked? More than likely, it's from phishing scams. So some of you may have experienced this, but if you've gotten DMs like this or emails like this that say they're from Instagram, 9 times out of 10, they're not from Instagram. These are people trying to hack you. Never click links that are suspicious. Never give away your username or your password. Make sure your password is strong. But if something looks suspicious, most likely it is. So make sure you don't click any weird links like this that look like they're from Instagram. And the way you can find out whether or not they're legit and actually from Instagram is this way. So like I said, Instagram's most likely never going to email you. But if they did, you'll be able to tell whether it's legit or not by checking in your app. So to check if you received an email from Instagram, you go to your settings, you tap security, and then you select emails from Instagram. And then there you'll be able to see, what is actually legit and what is not. So second, this is the last piece of this presentation, but we're going to talk about account setup. So first, here's a little 2-minute social media audit. So, this is important because when people come to your handle, whether it's Instagram or Facebook, their attention spans are short. They quickly want to see who you are, what you're all about. And you want that first impression to be good because, if you lose them, they might be gone forever, but it's important to have your account set up to make that first impression, positive. So first and foremost, make sure both accounts are set up, Facebook and Instagram, because again, that's going to allow you to reach 2 different audiences. Second, your handle and username. Highly recommend that your name is somewhere in your username, so that way you're searchable. For example, make sure your username isn't, basketball lover 23 or, something random like that, because when someone wants to find you, they won't be able to find you if that's what your username is. So make sure your name is in there somewhere. Third, your bio. Recommend just some quick bullet points that represent who you are. So these are examples from mine now. If I were still an active player, I would have Duke on there. I would have, a business email. I also have a personal website. So I have my personal website in there. But just, a few bullet points that represent who you are, what you want your image to be. And then lastly, your profile picture. Make sure it's high quality, something that is easily identifiable to who you are. So second, highly recommend switching to a creator account. So a creator account is what we recommend for influencers and athletes. And basically it just gives you more flexible profile controls, more advanced insights and resources. So to do that, also very simple, you just go to your settings, you tap account, and then you click get Instagram professional tools, and then you'll have the option to switch to a creator account. So here's an inside look at what a creator account looks like. So you have more advanced settings in your direct messages. So you can choose, who can contact you, which ones I prioritize, things like that. You have more advanced insights. So you can see things like your follower growth and your activity. And there's also more advanced profile displays. So you can choose, what type of, public figure you want to be displayed as, whether that's an artist or an athlete, things like that. And also with a creator account, like I said, more advanced insights, and insights are extremely valuable for a number of reasons. One, it's valuable if you want to communicate that to a brand. So you can get these insights by going to your professional dashboard. And there you'll be able to see things like your amount of followers, what the age and gender are of your followers, what locations do they live in. You can also track your performance and follower growth over time. And there's also a number of, resources for you guys to learn about, what great content looks like, product updates, and more. And then last thing I promise, but cross-posting. So I mentioned this earlier, but it's so important to have both a Facebook and an Instagram. Again, we know that, college athletes are, Instagram is the home for athletes in general, but Facebook is where you can reach a massive audience, and you have two different audiences on both platforms, and they don't always overlap. So for example, if the time comes and you want to host a camp, if you do something as simple as cross-posting and cross-post it to not only Facebook but Instagram, that's going to allow you to reach a wider distribution and hopefully ultimately get more sales. So to set up cross-posting, also very simple. You go to settings, you tap account, and then you select sharing to other apps and just toggle on Facebook. It doesn't have to be a big lift. You can simply link your accounts and post everything you do on Instagram to Facebook. But just taking the time to do it can really go a long way. So key takeaways from today. I know we covered a lot, but if you remember anything, remember first, it's important to define your goals. So take some time to create a game plan. Think about what you want your personal brand to be. What do you want to be known for on social media? Second, grow your community. Experiment with different content formats on Facebook and Instagram. Try to showcase your personality and your interest, and most importantly, be consistent. And then lastly, build your legacy. Experiment with different monetization tools, and just remember at the end of the day, this is fun. Facebook and Instagram is an opportunity to showcase your talents and your interests to your fans and your friends. So at the end of the day, just have fun and be yourself. So again, we covered a lot. So if you do want to learn more, we have a few different resources that we've created. The first one is called Front Office Sports Essentials. So we did it's a 6-part on-demand course with Front Office Sports, where we essentially take a deeper dive on all the different topics I covered today. And if you go through the course, it's free, and you can receive an NIL certification that you can show off on your LinkedIn page. So highly recommend checking that out. And then the second piece is Facebook for Creators. So we created an online hub with links to all these different resources I covered today. So if there's something that you want to learn more about, you can go to this link and explore all the different resources we put together.